Welcome back, everyone, to this week's episode. Previously, the party had went in search of Cass and the automaton. Having only recovered a few body parts and a hint to their next destination, a funeral was swiftly executed and breakfast was made. They departed for the Van Corfer estate in search of answers. Will they find any this week, or just finish their level up? Find out this episode here at Good Job Adventures. Here's where we're going to handle your guys' level ups. So these are going to take course over the 2 weeks that you guys are flying. So we're going to start with Eligos. All right.
Am I gonna have another Helm dream?
No, we're actually going to be doing it a little bit different this time. So after the first 2 days of flying, Larry decides that it is time for him to make his one of his first errands, his first pit stop. And he descends the bar next to a large forest. And he opens up the door and he says, "We just gotta wait here for a few minutes. I'm picking somebody up so I can drop him off later. Hope nobody minds." From what I can tell in the bar right now, currently everybody's just kind of sitting around just inside the main bar area doing their various things that they will be doing for the week. But you all just seem to be in the room at this moment.
I'm probably still in my room.
All right, you're still in your room then. But right now, just everybody but Owl is in the main room. So from the woods, a man emerges and then heads towards the bar, almost expecting Larry to be here at this time. This large man, one would call an Adonis, with blonde hair, golden blonde hair, stands in the doorway. A garish red headband around his head shines like a halo. He brushes off his equally bright red scarf to expose a golden chainmail that covers his sculpted body. Strapped across his back, you can see a massive great axe, polished to perfection, glinting in the morning light. His eyes shine as if someone took the gleam of a gold coin, captured that moment, and placed them in his sockets. And he enters into the bar with a wide smile. "Larry, my good friend, how are you? Thanks for picking me up, old chum." And then Larry
Is this
Larry
Zap
responds,
Brannigan?
"No, but I've stolen his voice."
Sponge boy me Bob.
So Larry kind of just nods to him. He's like, "No problem." He's like, "I've had quite a few rough days over there in the Netherwoods. I needed a drink to relax. You know, there's nothing like a good pub, but one that picks you up, now that's something special." And he glances over the party, just looking over the patrons in the bar, and he said, "Speaking of something special." And then Eligos, he kind of looks at your golden armor that you're wearing. He says, "You've got an interesting crowd here, Larry. Pray tell, who are these gentlemen?" And then Larry kind of looks over at you guys. He's like, "They're just a couple of bar patrons that I'm helping out, carrying them across Tofek."
Couple of usuals.
And then he kind of just like looks over you guys, and he's like, he walks straight up to you, Eligos, first, and he's like, "My name is Retzless Mysinoj. Nice to meet you."
Eligos, likewise.
"I like your armor, Eligos, and who is this foray of which you're with here?"
We're traveling with Larry to, what was the name of the place again?
Van Corfer Gala thing.
That thing.
"Oh, you're heading to Van Corfer's. Well, I'm afraid I won't be in attendance this year, but give him my warm regards." So he kind of just like peers around the bar, just looking at Breathweaver in his onesie. He looks at Vilhelm inside of his crafted armor, and he's really just focusing on Yuzu. He's like, "So Eligos, your taste in armor kind of tipped me off to seeing that you seem to be the star of the show here. Is that right?"
I wouldn't use those words exactly.
"Fair enough. Are you some sort of..."
Cut out.
Yeah, you keep cutting out.
All right, let me leave the Discord and then come.
He walks out of the bar and walks back in.
All right, I'm back. So, why are all of you headed over to Mr. Van Corfer's estate. Are you all some sort of adventurers? Are you heroes? Craftsmen?
It's kind of a personal matter, if you don't mind.
Oh, I see. I understand. So he kind of just like sits near the bar and he's like, "So Larry, I'll have a usual." And then Larry heads over to the bar and starts making him a drink. So he seems kind of focused in on you, Eligos. And
Am I being hit on? I feel like I'm being hit on.
you're not necessarily being hit on, but you seem to have the same type of fashion sense of this man and just like the gold type of armor. And then he kind of feels like you're the only one worth striking up a conversation with at the moment. And he says, "So are you some sort of new aspiring adventurer? If so, you're doing a good job being here at Larry's, only the best shop here."
I didn't exactly come here by choice, but I guess you could say I'm glad I ended up here.
Okay. Well, let's see here. I assume you're gold standard, right?
Oh yeah, right.
All right. Well, that's definitely good to hear. If you weren't, I mean, I guess you wouldn't be here now, then, would you? But to follow on with my ramblings, you seem to be dressed as some sort of knight, a fighter, I presume.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Okay then. Larry, how good does this man fight? Is he up to snuff? And then Larry kind of just glances at Retzel and he's like, yeah, he's great. He's great. One of the best I've seen for sure. And he kind of just makes this, like, he kind of rolls his eyes.
Glad to know you always got my back, Larry.
Yeah, anytime. It's very hard to compare the two of you. And I feel like he's gonna do the thing again. As he kind of just makes as he starts making the usual. And then you see this gentleman. He's like, "Larry, what thing are you talking about?" And then Larry responds. He's like, "You're gonna tell him that he's a good adventurer and that you're the best, and then you're gonna challenge him to a fight, and it's gonna be stupid, and I'm gonna have to watch it." And then he says, "That's nonsense. But what do you think, Eligos?"
I'm gonna have to pass.
Ah, well, that's no fun.
Look, man, I appreciate you want to like get to know me, but I'm hot off the heels of another challenge that didn't go so great in like the worst possible way, and I'm not exactly itching for a retry.
Well, what happened? Maybe then you can tell your story here to good old Retzela and see exactly how a pro would do it.
Listen, buddy, you're starting to overstay your welcome, all right?
Oh yeah?
Vin's sweating right now as his plot hook not landing.
Then what are you gonna do about it?
Well, I'm gonna get up and move, I guess.
So he drinks his usual, and then he's just gonna sit down at the bar. So you've moved away from the very garish and very annoying Retzela Myasinoge. At this point, he kind of just asks Larry. He's like, "Well, Larry, since I am a little bored and I'm not going to get anything out of it, can I go down to your training room? I want to see if I can bust out some moves now while I've still got the energy." And then you see Larry walks over to the other side of the bar, kicks open a hatch on the ground. He says, "Down you go."
Down the hatch.
And then you see he pops downstairs. And as Larry covers back over the hatch, he rolls his eyes as he seems very clearly annoyed at the entire situation. He's like, "I'm sorry, Eligos." He's very talkative.
Yeah, it's not your fault. Just some people, that's just how they are.
He'll be here for a couple of days, so if you make up your mind, feel free. He will probably sleep, eat, and shit and piss down there. Don't worry, there's a toilet. But that's at the moment.
Is he eating from that too?
No, I send down a plate every so often.
Larry, quick question. Are there any other areas of this bar that, like, hidden away that we should know about? Like the thing in the ball pit, that hatch there?
Oh, there's a whole bunch of places. Larry says there's an upstairs, there's a downstairs, there's a back, and there's a front. If you ever want to go somewhere, let me know. If I got it, you names it.
Right.
All right, then. So you guys go about your day. I assume that Breathweaver tries to talk to the dragon on top, and we will get to that soon. All of these scenes will be happening pretty much within the same time frame. Vilhelm, I assume, is just talking to Clevin at this moment, talking about the oars and.
Kind of no. I know we'd kind of talked about this earlier, but there's the idea I had about just straight up making a suit of armor for someone. So I kind of figured
Okay.
that during like this 2-week travel montage, I'd just be doing that.
Okay. Yeah. So you're currently crafting in your room then. So. All right. So let's just jump into your scene now, Ander. So. Ander, through these few weeks that you've been spending here, or a few days so far at Larry's bar, you've just been pretty much going over that exact same book that you had gotten from that you've gotten Praise Journal, I believe, correct?
Mm-hmm.
So as you're looking through it and going through, you notice that Larry has been kind of watching you read through your book the entirety of the time, and he asks you, he's like, "Hey, Ander, you seem to be reading the same book every single day. Do you just like not have a collection or something, or you really like this one?"
Well, a little bit both, actually. My collection isn't currently with me right now. It's currently at the academy. And I kind of like reading this one and finding all the little mistakes that were written in it.
He looks at the book, which is a cookbook, and he's like, "Uh-huh. Well, I mean, you may not have your collection of books with you, but that's just the benefits of having a flying bar like myself. If you want, Larry can show you a little bit of the personal collection if you might want to."
Oh, that'd be amazing. Also, I completely forgot that the outside of the book was a cookbook.
Yeah, that's why he's been staring at you. He just thinks that you're really excited about cooking. So like Larry's kind of in on the joke now. So he kind of takes off a key ring that he has attached to like his hip, and he says, "Follow me." He walks to the back of the bar through a hallway to a set of doors, and he goes to a door that's at the far left end of the hallway, and takes that key off and promptly unlocks the door. So as soon as he unlocks it, it opens up into a room that is quite quaint, yet a little dusty. It's a study, it looks like, of his. He whistles, and a few candles begin to burn brightly, illuminating the room with a warm glow. And he says, "Well, here it is, Larry's good old library. Haven't used it in a while." As you see, he like dusts off a couple of books. He's like, "But maybe you could learn some new recipes here."
Oh, that sounds wonderful. Thank you.
"No problem." Thank God. Got him out of my bar. And you see as he walks out of the room, because looks like he was getting a little annoyed he kept sitting there. So Larry exits the room, and you're just left alone inside of this library now. What are you going to do?
I think I'm first going to look at some of the bookshelves and see what each of them has.
Sure. So go ahead, roll investigation.
Okay. 19 plus 6, so that's 25.
So you roll a 25. Okay, so you look all over the walls, and you're looking for some very interesting books. So the first one you see happens to be a green leather-bound book, and it's called The Three Tree: Magical and Non-Magical Usage in the Modern World. Would you like to take a look at that one?
I'll pick it out of the bookshelf and take a look-see at it.
All right. So as you read through this book, you learn the following things as you're going through. You learn in this world that there are 3 main schools of power. Power from the gods, which allow mages and sages to cast and weave magic through the heavens. The most popular form of magic, it notes, mostly used by sorcerers, wizards, paladins, clerics, etc. So then there is a second form of magic, magic from the world, where power is drawn from the surrounding life. Such as druid or bards would be the ones that command this. And third and lastly is a power from the self, what they note as ki here, and that is usually drawn from by monks or barbarians.
And would certain sorcerers fit under that, I'm assuming?
Certain sorcerers may draw power from the self, but most often than not it is power from the heavens.
Okay.
So after you scan through that book, it takes you like a day or two. You're just reading it through, sitting in the nice comfy chair that Larry has inside of his library. You're kind of done with this one now, and you see another book that happens to be sitting on the shelf. One you kind of seem to have overlooked. You likely would have went for this one first, knowing you. It's a darker book bound in dark leather, and it seems fairly nondescript from the ones in the library, which is probably why you overlooked it. But it seems to lull, and it seems very interesting as it looks very different from the other ones that surround it.
Sort of has an ominous kind of feel to it.
Yeah, it's an old black tome, no words, no binding, and you don't see anything written on the side of it.
I'll pick it up and read it. I want to know what it is.
Okay. Grabbing it from the shelf, you see even the front or the back, there's absolutely no words on it. And as you open the book, you can see various runes and symbols, most of which you've never seen before. You mostly cannot identify them.
Mm-hmm. And even with the eyes of the Runekeeper, I can't even tell what these are.
As you're attempting to use your eyes of the Runekeeper to decipher what's written here, you notice that your eyes can no longer decipher this text. In fact, as you're reading over the book and pouring through its pages, you try to call upon your magical ability and it seems as if your entire connection to your patron has dissipated.
Oh.
As you've been reading this book, and then you kind of just notice that, and what do you do?
I'm gonna just gently close the book and say that was weird.
All right. So as you close the book and look up around, just to put it back onto its shelf, you look around the library in confusion as you realize that you are not in the same library that you were before. The library seems changed. It seems larger, broader, more imposing. The walls and the shelves are now of deep mahogany, and they rise several stories tall now. The carpet that's beneath your feet is a mural of a goddess smiling serenely. If you could roll history.
15 plus 6, 21.
So you roll a 21, and you notice that the carpet, while it doesn't reveal much, it's Mistra. The goddess Mistra. It seems awfully torn, and the cloth seems to be rubbed out completely in patches over her face. And as you look further around the room, you smell a great warmth, and look up to see large bones burning in a stone fireplace, crackling in the heat as if divining a prophecy or perhaps casting a curse. On the mantel above, you see an extravagant painting of a beautiful man with sunken dark eyes, reddened around them as if he's been crying. Indeed, you do see, stemming from his tear ducts, 2 drops of viscous tar-like paint, creating 2 streams that stop midway down his cheek. He has unkempt black hair and a slight smile. You don't recognize who this is, however. And then you notice what for you is the most interesting change. The books on the shelves all are different. Their bindings are ancient, regal, forbidden. The titles are of gods you've never even heard of. Recipes for mythical potions, the basis of your childhood fairy tales. There are maps of places you were told never existed, landmarks lost to time. You see a tome, the Battle of the Pale Cliffs, fought between 2 gods nearing the beginning of time. In their wake, an ocean was carved out. You see a book detailing the exact causes and deaths for dozens of gods that you know as just lost gods. And then as you look around at all of these books, a thought enters your head. That this is knowledge you could have never dreamed existed. And as you begin to look around now, you notice the door that you had shut on your way into Larry's study, is cracked open, and an eerie black light is crawling out from underneath the cracks.
I'm gonna get on my hands and knees and kind of peek under the door to see what's there.
Okay. So you peek under the door. I want you to roll me a perception check.
17 plus 19.
Okay. You're rolling high today. So you take a peek underneath the door, and from what you can see, it just looks like an eerie black cosmic darkness, but a bunch of different lights seem to be swirling, but you can't really see too much as you're peering underneath the door, but you can get that much. So there's darkness and a bunch of lights coming from outside of the door.
Okay, I'm just gonna open the door and see who it is.
See who it is. Knock, knock. So again, you open up the door and you can see there's that cosmic darkness, colorful lights in the distance begin swirling and rising. You can see pale beams of light wafting upwards in the distance as if off a smokestack. And the light comes together as it expands, separates and retracts. And as you look around, you see it now. Hundreds of doors floating in the nether, all different colors, all the same shape, size, and dimension. You hear nothing for a long time, and as you struggle to take in the cyclical entropy and regeneration cast before you, you feel as if you're watching the beginning of things, the birth of creation, yet as it progresses and progresses, you feel as if it never seems to reach an end point. Rather, it always goes back to its beginning as the doors pop in and out of existence and swirl around. And now, in front of you, instead of this cosmic nothingness, all these doors seem to swing open, each opening into what seems to appear to be a different part of a labyrinth. And a voice projects out to you in every open passageway, beckoning you in.
I don't know which door to pick.
There are literally hundreds, thousands, millions even, but all of them are in front of you. You can pick one at random. You can pick one because you like the way the color looks on it, but they're all fairly similar.
I'm just gonna close my eyes, point somewhere, open them, and pick that door.
Okay. So you do the good approach. So you walk up to that door and you open it, and a giant beast eats you and you die. No, but you you walk into the ether as your feet seems to just like find solid purchase on absolutely nothing as you walk towards one of the doors completely blindly with your hand outstretched to grab its handle. So you open up that door and you walk through. I assume you open your eyes at that point, and the walls that surround you seem to be tall and ancient, about 15 feet tall, made from a mineral that is utterly alien. You take a look around, looking left and right, and you see that there are bends that are sharp and sudden, and pathways that seem to fork off seemingly at random with no purpose behind it. What do you do?
I'm gonna see if I can collect a little bit of that stone as a sample to research later.
Okay, so the stone of the wall?
Yeah.
Okay, so how are you going to attempt to collect that?
I'm gonna try and Eldritch Blast the wall.
Okay, go ahead, attempt to roll for Eldritch Blast.
A 2 plus 8, so that's a 10.
All right, so you're able to roll that 10, but as you're attempting to cast your Eldritch Blast, remember, your connection to your patron seems to be currently fizzled, and as you attempt to cast, it just like nothing absolutely happens. You just like kind of jut out your hand, and nothing happens.
Oh, right, no magic. I'm just gonna keep walking.
So you are compelled to move forward now, either by despair or just by seeking of whatever can get you out of here. And you begin running, sprinting into this unknown creation as if you're now unable to resist. Specters appear to your left and your right as you're running past these walls, faceless, ethereal beings, engrossed in a sense of isolation and horror. And they quietly walk away from the direction that you're currently headed. Some of these specters seem regal. Others seem like adventurers, and some are giant beasts towering above you as you brush past their wispy appearance, and others seem to just be the average commoner you may see on the street. So finally, Ander, you see at the end of this pathway you're going to an outletting that seems to lead you into a courtyard of withered grass and skeleton trees. There's no wind here, but if there were, you'd reckon it would be that of a sharp cold that cuts you right to the bone. In the middle of this opening is a young human man. You'd reckon his late 20s. There's an ageless wisdom to him, an intellect of spirit that is almost overwhelming. And you see he looks to you and he slightly applauds with like a little golf clap, and he motions you to sit next to him.
I'll do so.
All right. And as he does, you see this young man smile, and he raises his hands to the sky, and he slowly lowers them. And the labyrinth that surrounded you previously begins to fold over itself in a stack, forming walls and girders, stacking into small, colorful chunks and shooting into the other sections. The walls rise and begin encasing the courtyard until it is completely engulfed in a cathedral-like structure. You see there are bars behind large stained glass murals of dying gods. Long arches sweep up, and through the ceiling and statues continue to reconstruct themselves all through the wounded, ghostly grass. And now you see this man turns to you and he says, Hello, Ander. Are you liking your stay here so far?
Ender, I just kind of give him a blank stare and say, "Who are you?"
And you see this man. He begins to chuckle slightly. He's like, "Well, I am one who has walked the same path as you. Tell me, Ander, you are seeking something, correct?"
Yeah, I'm seeking knowledge, seeking every bit of knowledge I can get.
And you see the man smiles at you. He's like, I once was one like you, and then I got what I wanted, just as you will eventually. Ander, there is something you must know. The knowledge that you seek. There are certain pieces of information that the gods are withholding from mortals such as yourself, limiting them, lowering the ceiling of your knowledge. And you see that he raises his hand again, and he causes the dead courtyard that you were sitting in to return to life as the grass is now a lustrous green, and large spiraling trees coil into the architecture. And he says, "You wish for immortality, correct?"
I mean, that's step one, yes.
A wish is a fickle thing, a wondrous thing. I can make you, Ander, a fellow stranger to endings. Your life unmarked by time. And time, well, that would be just a word for you. Ander, if you wish, serve me, and your wish can be used to liberate the knowledge of the gods, knowledge that should never have been hidden. And he looks at you, staring deep into your soul. And suddenly the courtyard decays into nothingness, and the cathedral cracks as if struck by an earthquake. It shakes and groans as it begins to rapidly age. In one last act of defiance, the central arc screams before it begins to fall.
I just had one question.
Yes.
If you said that the gods did not want mortals to learn this stuff, but you know this stuff, wouldn't you be technically one of the gods who would want to not have us know this?
And he smiles at you. He's like, I am no god. And then as you sit there, Ander, in the wake of your one question you got there, you feel yourself aging and aging, and your bones are weak and weary, like two drunks could rip them apart to earn a wish. And your skin is saggy and it begins to tear as the entirety of the cathedral begins to turn into dust, as everything that shattered previously is now returning to the nothingness that it once was. And yet the man before you remains as young as ever, and he smiles once before extending his hand. Do you take it?
Yes.
All right, so you take his hand and you feel a slight burning on your palm. And as you wake up, you are standing in the middle of a room that you had not been in before. Looks like a training room to you as you stand affixed between two training dummies, as Larry is standing on the opposite side of the room. And you see he's kind of he kind of is just like, he's in a pair of reading glasses, Ander, and he's carefully going over a scroll. And like you can see on the back of the scroll, there's like a huge blue like lightning like on it, like a lightning strike on it. And he's just like, he's licking his fingers to like parse through this scroll that is only like 1 page long. And he's like looking at it. He's like, I got it now. Chain lightning. And you see he kind of just is like reading the scroll, and you see he like takes one of his hands and he begins to wave it, and he's like, Shiakazi! And he zaps it. right out, and you see the scroll begins to dissipate as now there's this huge lightning bolt that's headed right towards you, and you see Larry puts down the burning scroll, and he's like, "Holy shit!" And what are you gonna do?
I'm gonna cast Dispel Magic.
All right. So as you cast Dispel
no,
Magic,
it wouldn't be Dispel Magic. It'd be Counterspell.
Counterspell. All right. So as you begin to weave together Counterspell, you hold out your hand that you shook with this being, and as you do, you feel the eyes of the Runekeeper in your sockets begin to burn as you're looking at this lightning bolt, almost as if in like a slow-mo. And as you raise your hand to cast Counterspell, you feel as if like the left eye that you would usually look through becomes blind for a moment, and your hand collides with the lightning bolt, and all of the light in the room completely goes dark as you just hear like this small crash. And after this flash of light has appeared and you're able to regain your sight, you see that the lightning that was there previously is no more, and Larry is kind of laying on the ground, and he kind of just like is coughing, and he's like, "Oh my god,
Oh my god, I'm so sorry. Did I do that?
and you kind of look at your hand now, and on it is emblazoned this blue infinity symbol that seems to be some sort of marking as it begins to stop glowing blue and returns to a faded black. And you see Larry's like, "No, that's my bad. I didn't see you there, Ander. And how did you get into my secret dojo?"
Well, it's kind of a long story. I was in your secret library. A myriad collection of books, by the way. I appreciate it. I opened this...
No problem.
Here, let me help you up first.
And you see, thank you so much. And you see, like, he kind of just, like, accepts your help to stand up. And he's like, "Damn, I'm strong. That lightning was hype."
Yeah, but I picked up this old tome, tried reading it with my magical eyes. It wouldn't let me read it, so I closed the book, and then about, like, a million doors appeared. I went through one, I went through a little labyrinth, I met some dude, a tree decayed, a tree grew to life, a tree decayed again, and then I was here.
And you see Larry's like, "Uh-huh. Okay." And you see he kind of just, like, stands up. He's like, "Get out." And he kind of points at the door.
Okay, no problem. Right away.
And you see you walk out and you end up in the library as the door closes behind you, which was a fake kind of door that is hidden behind one of the bookshelves. So now we're going to head over to the next person, which is going to be Breathweaver. So Breathweaver, as you mentioned, you wanted to talk to the dragon. So one day, usually I assume like on the first day, you're kind of putzing around and you look over at Larry and you're like, you want to know more about the dragon. So feel free to ask him.
So, how, you have a dragon friend?
Yeah, he's my best friend. He carries around the bar for me. I feed him food. We've been best buds ever since he's been born.
You mean you've raised him since he was born?
Yeah, he turned out great.
So how many years has it been since you raised him?
Oh my god, about close to 30 years.
Man, he grew up fast.
Yeah. You want to go, if you want to talk to him, I mean, well, we're currently flying, it's probably not great. You could head up the chimney.
Sure, I would love the chance to talk to a real dragon. I don't think I've ever actually met one.
The bar sails through the cloudy sky like a ship through sea foam. In Breathweaver, you rise like a mast through a trapdoor, emerging into the outcropping of a small patio centered on this roof. You see a lawn chair covered with a few old books, an empty protein shake lying overturned on the ground. So you look over this empty protein shake laden patio, and you see that one of the books that Larry was reading is a book about it's a young adult novel named The Ballad of Warlord Brentley, and it features a shirtless centaur which is a centaur, but the top half is an orc. Larry's been marking up the margins extensively, and it seems that Larry seems to come up here for some rest and relaxation. So the patio covers up a majority of the roof, which is made of stone, and is a seemingly has an original facet of the bar that's been built into the architecture. It's been unwilling to be removed. On the sides of this patio rise a short fence about 4 feet tall, and it's made of a dense, squat metal nearly as wide as it is tall. The left and right siding of the fence rises a bit taller on the other sides, and there is a large space between the top rung of this side and the one below, and in it is the space where Ignitus's claws grasp onto the top of the bar. And you see that Ignitus is now just notices your presence, and he says, "Ah, hello, young Breathweaver. How are you?"
I am doing well, thank you. How about yourself?
Doing fine. So, I hear from Larry that you wish to become a dragon. Is that correct?
That is why I've come here, yes.
So, why do you want to be a dragon?
The answer is not an easy one for me. Ever since I was a wee whelp, I had a feeling that I was misplaced. But there's also a wish deep down to make a change in the world. And what better place to start than following your heart?
So, in keeping with that, who are you without your desire to be one of us?
I've spent so much time avoiding that question that I don't think I can properly answer you. I've come on this journey to help find that out. Once upon a time, I met a priest to help me in a time of need, and I wish to repay their kindness, or I could help teach others. For I have done some research on history in order to learn more of your kind. Honestly, if this journey is to fail, I hope to learn my path in life from it.
Admirable. So you say, to clarify, that if you are to fail to become a dragon, that should your desire not come to fruition, that you will dedicate your life in another aspect for helping others?
That would probably be the case.
Well, let's see how far we can get you. So as you fly through the sky, you see Ignitus kind of just like looks up and he says, "Well, let me tell you a story here, Breathweaver. It's a story of a dragon called Phineas Borealis. Tell me, have you heard of the Northern Lights?
I indeed have.
Have you heard the story of its origin? Why it was named in such a way?
No, I have not.
It is named after a famous man, and his name was Phineas Borealis, or Borealis. At least, that was his name after he was cursed. However, this man was actually no man at all, but a great dragon, by the true name of Vinter. He sought to undo his curse by any means necessary. He felt as if this curse rejected him from the heavens, which he once roamed freely. His power was restricted, and he felt lost without it. Yet, on the ground, he made relationships that would last a lifetime, defeated powerful foes, and even saved the world from a great destruction from the hands of a maddened ruler. Though cursed to the ground, his legend earned him these lights. His name will forever be synonymous with the sky. He never found a way to undo his curse, but his deeds brought his legacy to paint the sky with such beauty. So, Breathweaver, what do you believe the moral of this story to be?
You can accomplish great things when you want to.
Correct. But the true meaning, Breathweaver, is that it doesn't matter what you are, it matters who you are. So with that, let's help you become who you want to be. So he begins to tell you that he wants to practice some breath weapons with you, and you two will attempt to do so. So he starts shooting out like thorns into like the sky that fall to the ground. I assume you do some sort of like training montage with Ignitus.
So for level 6, I got Empowered Healing, which essentially is a Divine Soul ability, sorcerer ability, to use one. I can use one sorcery point to re-roll a heal die of any healing that takes place 5 feet from me, and then and then I get 2 new spells, and I replaced the spells. So I replaced Agonizier's Scorcher, which is a fire breath. I already had a fire breath, so I switched it to Lightning Bolt for lightning breath. And then also he now has the ability to slow time down for people, so he's now a master of the element of time. And then he also has the ability to create a wall of water. So slowly but surely he's becoming a waterbender. What type of dragon is Ignitus?
He's a forest dragon. As you guys go through your training exercises, you spend some time with Ignitus on top of the roof over these few weeks. And as you guys are flying through, you see that you are coming up to a pass. And it looks like there are 2 directions you can fly around. In front of you, Ignitus sees that there's a mountain range, which he tells you is named the Gamdwell Bluffs. They come up. He says, you must fly around to the left or to the right. If we are to fly over this bluff, then the altitude would be too severe for everyone inside. Breathweaver, should we go to the left or to the right? You look to your left, and there's a blue sky over a gentle prairie. Mostly dirt, but there's small patches of grass scattered throughout, and they're rustled by the wind like a hand through a child's hair. It's calm, peaceful, yet dreadfully boring. Then on the right side of the mountain range is a sloping ravine of desert and undergrowth. Yet you see a crackling dense storm prelocating around the ravine and throughout it, rising above and completely covering it in totality. Which way should we go?
People inside here won't be affected by the lightning, right?
We do not know, and he smiles at you.
Let's find out.
Ignitus nods at your decision and heads right down into the ravine. As the air grows dense and cold around you, you feel a rush of power come over you, an aggressive sense of domination, as if you willed to existence a destiny in which you could harness the powers of the elements. Columns of lightning web out from the clouds. The charcoal clouds billow upwards into the bending wind like a smog pulled out of the seaside smokestack. You taste it for a split second. Ash. And then you feel a pulse, like a fetal heartbeat emanating from the storm itself. For a brief moment of fear and wonder overcomes you, with the thought that it isn't a storm, it's something else. Something burning and growing and hungry. Yet the storm vanishes, as you push out through the other side, into a clear ellipsis of cloudless blue, and a rolling mural of grassy hills. Emerging fully past the Gamdwell Bluffs, you breathe a sigh of release. This endeavor was performed with grace and ease matched by only Warlord Brentley, Master of Treachery, and you feel an overwhelming sense of destiny as you look down at the book that Larry has tossed to the side. And then Ignitus says to you, now that was a rush. You guys continue to practice breath weapons for a while, and he says to you, Breathweaver, I want you to climb on my back.
I will climb my way onto his back.
So you're on his back now, and you're kind of like touching his very wooden scales. Very odd to you. You've never really seen or heard of a dragon like this before. And he says, close your eyes and imagine it is you flying through the sky right now.
Breathweaver will close his eyes and take a deep breath.
Rills of wind rip through your hair, and the frost of the thin atmosphere drains the ducts of your closed eyes. Yet you imagine it, that you are the one flying, and you're the one who gravity means nothing to. And Ignitus says to you now, "Open your eyes. Now fly!" You open your eyes, and by Ignitus's command for you to fly, before even having time to think, Breathweaver, you find yourself for a few split seconds in the air, keeping pace with Ignitus, looking down at the world below with a sense of authority. And I want you to roll an Arcana check.
So dice, drop, 21.
So as you continue to fly, you notice that no fly spell has been cast on you. But you continue to fly for another few minutes, and then eventually you come and land back down onto the patio beside Ignitus. And then Ignitus says to you, "Remember, the most important thing isn't what you are, but who you are." So, Ewell, you mentioned in your level up to me that you wanted to perform some meditation, some training, and perhaps branch off into your different types of classes and what you were going to be doing with that level up. So you seem to be sequestered to your room, from what I understand, from the rest of the other party members' interactions so far. And I just want to know, what are you doing inside of the room right now?
I think the first few days he's not really doing that much. It's not like he's overcome with grief, but he's definitely like reevaluating some things and trying to figure out kind of like what the point of all this really is. He's kind of having doubts about what his wish was, what he wants it to be, if he still wants to do it, and stuff like that. So he's kind of just been by himself, not really up in the mood to socialize. And then I think like after maybe like 2 days or so, he's gonna start coming out of the room a little bit more.
Okay. So are you coming out like during the day with everybody else, or are you going to come out during the night? Like, how's the road going to take into a place here?
I'm gonna come out during the night, I would say. I don't think he really wants to socialize with the party just yet. It still kind of feels like the memory of what happened is very fresh. And I think first he wants to request a special item from Clevens, because Owl's now just in his base changeling form. He's kind of been thinking a lot about using his shapeshifting as a crutch, and he kind of realized he's been using all the characters he's come up with as a lens from which he views the world. And he hasn't really thought a lot about who he is without any of that, just who he would be, kind of like with Breathweaver without the dragon. He wants to figure out who he is when he's just Owl and not any of these characters he's come up with. So he's just normal Owl. He doesn't really want to shape change, but he knows his face is kind of off-putting. So he's gonna, before he starts training, he wants to put in a special request to Clevin, if you allow it, for like a face mask, kind of like a covering that he can use kind of on his nose and lower part of his face, so only a part of it's visible.
Okay. Yeah. So you head into the ball pit, and you see that Clevin is working away in the back with moving around some oars and rearranging his stock. And then he kind of looks at you. He's like, "Oh, hello. Welcome to Clevin's. How can I help you?"
Well, hello. My name is Owl. I wasn't with the party earlier, but I'm with the gang here who stopped by a few days ago. I was hoping, if you'd be able to do a custom order. I have gold.
Ooh, I like custom orders. What do you need?
I would like a mask that would be able to cover the lower part of my face, so I can kind of go out in public, and hopefully people won't be too off-put about, well.
Well, I should be able to weave something together for you. Yet one question. Now, you're wearing a hat. Do you want this to be affixed to a hood?
Oh, I'm not wearing the hat.
Oh, okay. So, would you like this to be a hood, or more of like a scarf for your face?
I guess something along the lines of like a handkerchief. So I can just wrap around my nose and cover the bottom part of my face or something like that.
Understood. I can make this for you. Now this is not difficult for Clevin. It just takes time. I will only require 3 gold.
Oh, that's pretty. All right. Here.
I mean, it's only a piece of cloth. Clevin likes metal.
Will you need a small loan of 3 gold?
Breathweaver! No, I don't.
Oh wait, I had 3 gold.
Yeah, I give him 3 gold.
All right, so you give him 3 gold, and he's like, "It will be done by tomorrow."
All right, take your time. We have a few weeks. And then I nod to him, and then I go back. And then is there like I guess for my trading part, is there kind of like a balcony or something?
There's not necessarily a balcony, but from what you know, there is a training room that is located in a hatch door, but you know, or at least you heard from a very loud gentleman that someone is down there pretty much living in the training room. So I don't know if you want to go there, but...
I guess I will first wants to read books on, like, martial arts and stuff like that. Because metagaming, he's thinking of becoming more like kind of a monk, or at least what the class entails.
Okay. Yeah, so if you wanna do that, then you can mosey on over to the library.
So yeah. Well, he's just gonna do that quickly, or whatever, to set up his training.
Yeah. So you head over to the library and you try to take a look for a couple of books. There are quite a few martial arts books. There's like The Art of the Fighter, The Barbarian's Rage, and you see that tucked away in a corner, there happens to be the Ways of the Monk. That's what you're able to see just on the binding there. And also, as you enter into the room, you see Ander completely passed out on one of the big leather seats that's in there, as he was reading a book, and like drool is kind of coming out of his mouth.
How to Get Away with Murder. What, Ander, what were you reading?
How to Kill a Mockingbird, for real.
Yup.
Yeah, kill her. I'll just take the monk book and then go back into my room
Okay.
and read it.
So once you actually attempt to grab the monk book, you see that it actually is kind of stuck there for a moment, and you attempt to pull it harder, and it actually works kind of like a lever. And a portion of the bookcase kind of slides inwards where you pulled it in, and it leads into this small looking kind of room.
I'll go in.
So inside of this room, as people who are in the podcast, obviously not Aul at this point, this is the smaller dojo with training dummies that Larry happens to have set up the previous day. So Aul, you're able to see that in this dojo there is a large mirror affixed to the back wall. There are a couple of training dummies that Larry has set up, and you're able to also see that there is there are a couple of like monkish weapons that are lined up against the wall, throwing weapons, certain types of daggers, some quarterstaffs, and this looks like it would be the perfect place for you to train if you wanted to.
All right, I will start training here.
All right, so so I want you actually to flavor it. So like, there's a couple of test dummies, there's a couple of monk weapons. I mean, what do you wanna try and do? Are you gonna grab that rogue level first or that monk level first?
I feel like the rogue kind of came from my actions in the arc. Like, I feel like that was where I
Okay.
spent some time. And this is me spending some time. So I guess, what kind of dummies are there? Like, what are they like?
They're like there are a couple of dummies. Most of them kind of look like orcs.
Eligos is there.
Not that dummy. But there are a couple of orcs there. They kind of look like they're made out of stone. There's also some wooden dummies that kind of look like practice target dummies up against the wall as well. And there's like one of those like weird like martial arts thing with the poles on it that keeps sticking out.
A wooden dummy?
Yeah. Is that actually what it's called? A wooden dummy?
I mean,
I think that's a slang for it.
Okay, a wooden dummy is there as well.
I will train on the wooden dummy. Like the thing they use in like Wing Chun.
Yeah, that thing. It's like got the pole sticking out of it. It kind of rotates.
Yeah. I guess I'll like read through the book and we'll probably share like diagrams and stuff of like forms and techniques to train and stuff and practice guys. And I was just gonna be like every night when people go to bed, he's going to train and come back there and train and just kind of all night grind at it.
Yeah, there are definitely different types of forms in there. There's a bunch of different types of strikes that are listed out, and as you begin to train through, you pretty much got the basics down at this point, and then they sort of start to explain different types of like methods of using your body's energy to send attacks through. But that's the part that you're having a little bit of trouble with. When you're attempting to fully complete the forms. And as you keep coming back day after day, you've gotten like all the regular punches down. You've pretty much are able to strike quite deftly, but you're unable to get the energy that this book is describing. And then over the course of the 2 weeks, one night, Larry happens to come in to the dojo by himself. It looks like he's attempting to train. He's kind of got like some shorts on and like a towel around his neck, and he's like, oh,
Drinking a protein shake.
yeah, he's got a huge protein shake. He's got his hair tied up. So he kind of comes into the room and he's like, does everybody just have free access to my dojo? What? First it was Ander. I don't know how he got in. How did you get in here? Wait, do I not have privacy?
No, Eligos says as he's behind Larry.
You just have like, you're just sitting with his protein shake, making another shake.
Eligos was actually the wooden dummy, and I just kept punching him, and he was like, ow, and I didn't...
I wanted to mention this, but I couldn't find a good place to cut in. I don't mean to like step on Owl's level up, but I feel like Eligos would much rather train with Owl than he would with Douchey Paladin.
Yeah, I was thinking that I was gonna have you find this dojo too, but like you see,
You could come in.
yeah, you see Larry comes in and he's like, "Do I not have any privacy?" Then Eligos just comes in the same trainer shorts with the protein shake, and he's just like, "Oh, you guys are here for like the nightly spar."
Are you guys my 5 o'clock?
Larry's just like, wait, those shakes come in vanilla?
where did you get that?
I made it upstairs.
But
You leave the ninja juicer just like out on the counter. I'm not gonna not use it.
Do you think Eligos would have followed Owl to see how he was doing and then seen him go into this room? That's how you found out about it?
Yeah, I'd say that's likely.
Andrew's just chilling on the chair still, absolutely passed out every night.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, drinking 5 protein shakes before reading and just gotten so tired.
Oh God, he's just massive. So he comes on and he's like, "All right, Eligos, you do whatever you need to do. I'm gonna practice on the wooden dummy." And you see, he kind of moves over to you, Owl, and he's like, "So you've been hitting this? Because I've been noticing a couple of more dents in it that I haven't been making."
That's still me, Larry.
So, yeah, I mean, I didn't know this was... Well, I guess I kind of knew it was private just because it's required a secret book to be pulled to get in here, but I've realized that I want to develop who I am as a person more, and I thought maybe developing my strength and my technique and stuff like that maybe would help me come to who I actually am and who I was supposed to be. I don't know. You ever feel like I just spent so much of my life hiding in the shadows? Is how I was raised, and it seems like that's all I am right now. And I just feel like I need to go somewhere new. And I'm not sure how to get there. Have you ever had that feeling like you have more in common with who you were than who you're going to be? Because that's how I feel right now.
And Larry just stone-faced looks at you and he's like, I absolutely do. And then he kind of just like shrugs for a second. He's like, okay, yeah, that hit close to home. But
Chug shake. Let's get started.
yeah, no, I understand. All right. So if you're trying to go down the monkish path, let me see what you got. Take a couple shots.
On you or on the dummy?
Honestly, you could do either. I'll help you spar it out if you want.
Oh, on Eligos. He is here.
I am here.
We could beat up Eligos.
I'll take up like one of like the padded shields that are against the wall.
All right. So hit that dummy.
All right, I'm still new at this. I'm usually just slash ankles, so this is a bit more refined technique. So I'll start trying to show what I learned from the book and been practicing on the dummy onto Eligos.
Just hit the bag, dummy.
All right, I started doing the techniques like the martial arts I've been learning.
Okay.
Did I roll?
Yeah, go ahead.
Or-
Attempt to roll. See how well you
Alright.
can smack him.
So I'll be doing unarmed attacks now. Oh, I got a 25.
Oh boy, that hits.
Flavor that.
It's just so fast. The Eligos has never really seen me hit that fast, so I think he was probably caught off guard. I'm just like throwing different palm strikes at all these different angles, kind of like sliding under where his shield is and like anticipating where he's going to be, and just able to completely bypass it.
Wait, the point. I'm holding up the padded shield. You're supposed to hit the shield. That's the whole point.
And you see Larry kind of looks at you and he's like, "No, you got a pretty good form. So I don't know if you're at this part yet, but have you been able to unlock a flurry first?"
I don't think I have that yet.
It would be
I think I'm only one level.
yeah. If you're only one level in monk, you don't have.
No, I did one into rogue, which is basically what I learned during the arc, and then one into monk.
All right.
Just my training. I'm still struggling a bit with the more advanced stuff. I think been a bit of a challenge to transition from, lurking in the shadows and avoiding any fight to being thrown into one. But I think once the transition becomes a little bit more clear, I think I'll hopefully in time get it. But do you have any tips, Larry?
Well, yeah, I actually do. So when I first started to train as a monk,
And he starts punching Eligos now.
yeah, he comes over to Eligos. He's like, "I had the same thing. I wasn't always a monk, but what you're doing is a simple strike, and you're thinking about it like it's a tool, like you were using before, like your daggers. But this being a monk is a little bit more different than that. You should think less of the actual tool doing the work for you, and then think as if it's your body and your energy that you're throwing into something. That'll help you burst through the next step." And then you see he turns towards Eligos and the shield, and you see like his fist kind of like glows for a second, and then he punches once.
Fucking hit the shield. Come on.
Owl, you're able to see like very quickly, he did not only punch once, he punched 3 times in the spawn of about 2 seconds. And like as soon as those blows all hit at the same time, Eligos is pushed back 5 feet. And he says, "The energy that you have inside of yourself can be used to enhance the physical portions that you've already seemed to have gotten down to a pat. And that's the next step."
All right. I didn't take you to be an expert in the monkly arts, Larry. No, I don't mean that as any offense.
Oh, it's no problem. I'm fairly comfortable with who I am and what people perceive me to be, but that's mostly due to me also being a monk. So, it happens. And then you see he puts his protein shake down, and then he picks up a smaller looking drinking apparatus, and he drinks a little bit out of that, and you can smell like this very strong alcohol on it. And then he goes in to like try and hit Eligos again, and as he does, you see like his strikes like hit at completely different angles, like from the bottom, from the top, and then straight, all hitting at the same time, as he's able to just like quickly like shuffle in between the shield and just like come all the way back to you within the same movement as Eligos is pushed back another 10 feet. And he's like, "There's a bunch of different ways to being a monk. This one's mine." And you see he's a drunken master.
And then as he does that, I thank him and I grab one of the like practice shields and I look at Eligos and say, "Well, I guess it's your turn now."
You know what? Here. So Eligos takes like some like the glasses that have been discarded and like sets them up on like small tables behind him. And he's like, "Here, for mine, try to hit the things behind me."
All right, I try to run past him and hit punch the glass or anything.
I'm gonna try to intercept him.
Roll that requisite roll. I think it's. Is it a straight athletics?
You tell me.
All right, it is.
Do I roll anything?
Yep, you're gonna try and roll athletics to get past him.
Oh no, got a -2. I got a 0. I got a roll a 2. I got a -2.
I got a 9.
So you try to get You try to get past him, and he just like bashes you with the shield and pushes you into the ground.
How do you like that?
Oh,
You good?
yeah. Yeah. I was gonna run, but this time attempt to like dive, almost like do a forward roll underneath the shield to see if I can get around that way.
All right. So both of you roll requisite athletics checks.
All right, athletics.
Acrobatics, athletics.
You can try acrobatics.
I got a 19.
I got a 23.
Damn.
You see, like, as you do, like, this incredible roll, like, you're just, like, you're like Donphan, like, the Pokemon movie. You're, like, going right in. He just, like, slams.
I get under, but he just grabs my foot and throws me behind.
he just throws
Right as I'm about to grab the glass, he grabs me by the ankle and throws me back against the other wall.
Larry dodges out of the way as he, like, kind of goes, like, completely onto the ground.
Oh,
You good?
okay. Not as good as before. Yeah, okay.
So you guys start practicing. You guys keep doing this deflecting of the shield technique. You keep practicing empowering your strikes with ki. Larry keeps on beating up anyone who has a shield and his wooden dummy as the three of you bool around inside this this training room that is separate from the other one.
As the night kind of grows late, like the sun's almost, we can't really see it, but the sun begins to rise, and we're kind of like hours and hours of sparring, we're both just really tired. I will just kind of looks at Eligos and he says, "So what did you?" He's like sitting on the wall. He's like, "What did you mean when you said you're sorry you couldn't protect Amina?"
Oh, it's not important.
I mean, I wouldn't blame yourself. I mean, it's what I did that sent her down this path.
Well,
The blame's on anyone. It's on me. So.
well, I don't. I appreciate you trying to take the high road on this, but I don't think you get to shoulder everything. That night when Cass came to the Chillin' Dragon, I don't know. I guess I thought we'd have more time. I asked her to spy on Cass. I guess you followed him to the tower, and then, well, you know the rest.
Yeah. Well, that was news to me. That's actually don't entirely know what to say, but I know that what happened, none of us wanted to happen. I know that I don't know what you. It was not. I think you know that it was. I shouldn't have given her my hat, and probably shouldn't have hired her to spy. It's easy to say. Look at that.
I get that. Probably not my biggest fan right now, but I'm not asking you to forgive me. I'm just saying, just know that what I said at the grave, I meant it. I don't want to bury anyone else because I couldn't do my job.
I know, and I feel the same way, and I'm a little disappointed, but I'm not angry. And really, the only two people that we each have to forgive is ourselves, and I'm still struggling to deal with that, Eligos.
Yeah, well, you're not the only one.
And I don't know. I've seen a lot of people die in my 20 years on this planet. I've seen a lot of death, and where I came from, it was really just became a struggle to survive. And when I heard about this place, like a land of wishes, I thought maybe it would be different here. But it seems like wherever you go, it's just death has a way of following. So.
I feel like at this point, Eligos is probably having war flashbacks from what Owl was talking about.
Probably.
So that's how you guys are going to handle into your level up. So you got your extra level in Rogue, and you got your level in Monk. What does it do?
So going into 5th level for Rogue, my sneak attack, which I'm pretty sure I've forgotten I had for a long time, that the damage bumps up, so I'll have to start using that more to 3d6. I also got Uncanny Dodge, so basically it just gives me another action, like thing I can do for a bonus action or reaction. If I get hit, I can use my reaction to half the damage. And then for Monk, I get Martial Arts. Basically, I can use Dexterity on my attacks and damage. My Unarmed Strike, like the normal Unarmed Strike, is stronger than a normal person. Then I basically get some more stuff to do extra attacks and stuff like that. Or like a bonus action to use another attack. I feel like that's mostly it. Oh, and my AC is boosted because I get a monk thing called Unarmored Defense. So my basically while I'm wearing no armor and I've taken off my armor at this point, my AC is stronger, higher, whatever. That's pretty much it.
Okay. And then what about you, Eligos? What are you getting from this level up?
Alright, so my health pool went up a lot, which was nice. I got extra attack at level 5, so whenever I make an attack action, I get to strike twice. And I also got Aura of Protection, starting at 6th level, whenever you or a friendly creature within 10 feet must make a saving throw. Creature gains bonus to the saving throw equal to your Charisma modifier, which currently is 2. I must be conscious to do this, so I can't just, like, be lying on the floor in a daze and stick my shield up, unfortunately. I also gained some spell slots. So for 1st level, I had Heroism. I got rid of it. So now I have Cure Wounds, Searing Smite, and Compelled Duel. And for 2nd level, well, I have my Hairless Rebuke that I get once a day from Race. I took Hold Person and Zone of Truth.
Oh no. Andrew's scared.
Andrew, did you kill that guy?
Tell the truth. Yes.
I killed them all.
Every last one of them.
Not just the men, but the women and the
Oh
children.
god.
They're animals, and I slaughtered them like animals.
Gutted him like a pig.
All right. Is that it?
I think that's it.
I think so. Yeah.
The Inquisition of Ander is near. But now, finally, we are on to the last person, which is Vilhelm.
Vin desperately trying to tie in that one fighter back into the storyline.
No. So Vilhelm, over the course of this period of time. Oh, sorry. Before I even get back to you, you go back the next day and you see that Clevin has weaved for you this very nice like bandana / mask that has like affixes. Yeah. That has like places to affix onto your face and like buttoned together on the back. And it's just a very nice looking like purple and black bandana.
It says damaged on the forehead.
Yeah, it says damaged on the foot. Yeah, but no, it's it covers a majority of your face, but like it just is like a very nice design. It looks as if like there's a couple of like square like diamondish looking accents in purple. It's woven from like a black cloth that you're not entirely it feels like cotton to you. But it seems like it's very well made and you can breathe very easily through it.
Nice.
Mhm.
Gore-Tex. But do I look at Clevin and Clevin just looks at me and says, "Here's to not looking at you, kid,"
Yeah, pretty much.
as I cover my face up. But kind of segueing to Wilhelm's thing, I was actually going to go over to Wilhelm, kind of once he feels more comfortable talking to people again. And I'm going to knock on Wilhelm's door.
Yeah, hello?
Hey, Wilhelm, it's Owl. I just had a request. I was hoping maybe you could make something for me.
Well, what do you need?
Can I come in?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure the door is open. Go ahead.
It was closed. It's closed and it's locked. Can you please unlock it?
Alright, shit, hold on. I thought I left door unlocked. Alright.
You see, like he opens up the door
Wilhelm's just super sweaty.
The entire room is like incredibly hot. The room is like ridiculously hot due to the forge that he has inside of the room. He's completely. I assume you've doffed your armor just due to the heat.
Oh, absolutely. Like
He's just in a wife beater.
See a magazine overturned on his bed.
Goblin Monthly.
So I'm actually going.
Goblina monthly.
play Goblin.
It's the Goblin Illustrated swimsuit. Dude.
He bought an underhand deal with Clevin. That's why he asked for the 40 gold. He saw it in the back. He's like, hey, about that nice looking magazine you have back there.
I love that as this has gone on, the meme has just developed that like Wilhelm is more or less like a goblin fetish.
That was from the beginning.
That was episode
Oh,
one,
I know,
dude.
I know. I just think it's funny that like.
If anything, it's that Wilhelm's going along with it more.
Oh no, I think it's funny as shit.
But so Awul's actually going to kind of like sit on the bed next to where the forge is and just pull out his monk book, and he's going to flip to a page where it goes into specialty monk weapons of different regions of the world, and Awul actually found one that's indigenous to like his kind of small island that he grew up on. It's called a Kris, which is based on a real weapon called a Kris, spelled Kris. It's kind of like an Indonesian weapon, but for the sake of this story, it's not from Indonesia. It's from where Awul's from. And he kind of shows you the diagram. It's kind of like a dagger with kind of a bendy blade, like a kind of swervy. And it's like, Wilhelm, do you think you'd be able to make something like this or make this weapon? I can give you gold for any materials you would
That
need.
looks like a sex toy.
That's why I thought he'd be able to make it. Out of character, the reason I maybe asking Vilhelm to make this is because we have a friend named Chris who's from the live episode.
Crease.
And then I may be doing it to honor our friend Chris.
I mean, I'll admit I've never had to make what is basically dagger with like wiggly blade, but like it should not be hard to do. Like making daggers is not really hard. It's just like getting the wiggles right. But that shouldn't be an issue.
Getting the wiggles right.
That's the name of this episode. Getting the wiggles, right?
All right, there it is. All right, so you show him that, Chris, and you're able to. So Wilhelm, you look at the design. You'll need whatever metal you want to craft it from. You can buy ore from Clevin, and you can use Awul's wallet for that. So we won't have you do any exchange of hands. You just pretty much buy it and act as if you have the money. But you should be able to do this, I think, with your the Divine Forge ability, correct?
Yeah, because Artisan's Blessing, I literally just need. Actually, wait a minute.
I think you could just do it with gold.
Well, one, I could just do it with gold. Two, then would I be able to just use Artisan's Blessing on the dagger that Awul already has and just make that into a Chris?
You could. That would work.
I'll just fucking do that.
Seems like you're slacking off a little bit, but I guess you won't know.
Oh my god.
All right.
So, Awul, are you gonna give him your dagger?
If he can make Chris is a pretty long weapon. Like it's slightly longer than a dagger. So
Tyler,
if you feel
mechanically, is it like a dagger or a short sword?
I think it's gonna be like a dagger, but
All right.
flavor-wise, it's definitely longer than.
Okay.
Make it from scratch.
Okay.
All right, yeah. So,
Wilhelm takes my dagger, botches it completely, then makes a new
you see,
one.
he just takes a hammer to the side of the dagger and like puts dents in it, look like waves, and he's just like, "There you go, wavy blade."
Are these sufficient wiggles?
Owl just shakes his head.
I want that shit. Alright, I'll actually make it.
I feel like while this is happening, Eligos comes by the room and is like, "Hey, Wilhelm, are you done with my armor?" And then he just sees like Wilhelm shirtless, the magazine, and like feels the heat of the room. He's like, "I will come back later."
And your armor's completely wiggled now.
Oh my god. All right, so Wilhelm, you have a couple of things to do. I think you've been requested to make armor, and a new armor and fix the shield for Eligos.
Yep.
You've been requested to make a Chris, And then whatever else you wanted to make, you can go ahead and make them. So I just want you to flavor however you want to do that, and then we'll dip into your level up, and we'll get to it. But you have a lot of requests waiting, so I want you to handle them.
Real quick, would you be willing to do mine for exposure?
Oh boy, exposure bucks. No, I mean, how much would, like, in terms of raw materials for the Chris, how much would that cost?
What are you gonna build it with?
The most expensive thing you have.
I want a nice.
Adamantine.
An adamantine creams.
I need the most expensive metal you have. No, that's too expensive.
Okay, so I guess at this point I'll take Owl with me to the ball pit and be like, alright, Owl, what would you like the Chris to be made out of? Like, and then I just show him the options that Clevin has between brass, bronze, copper, steel, silver, electrum, and potentially gold. Actually, Vin, in theory, because Tyler, Owl never spent the 1,000 gold he got, correct?
He did not.
Would I be able to make Owl a platinum Chris?
You can make him an adamantine, Chris, too. You only need 1 pound.
Oh, fuck.
What would the stats of an adamantine Chris look like?
Yeah, I don't know. You never told me how the ore would work for making weapons.
Oh yeah, I totally have that written down. You can make it, but it'll get adamantine is the only one that's special, so you'll get something special if you do it. I will tell you what that is later. Yeah, but if you want, you could spend 700 gold to get 1 pound of adamantium.
Again, I look at Owl like, what would you like to make?
I will buy the adamantium.
So you can buy the adamantium for 700 gold.
All right, Vilhelm goes up. He goes up to the forge. He makes the dagger.
I fucked up your adamantium. Do you have any more, Owl?
Oh, I am sorry. There is no more. As Vilhelm is just like pocketing the adamantium. No. And he just does it. Like, Vin, do you want me to roll for it, or?
No, you're able to do it with your feature. So you craft an adamantium Chris. This blade is quite possibly to date the nicest thing you've made. It wiggles in such a way that it's actually mesmerizing. It looks like a Damascus blade. It's like silverish blue, and it's weighted perfectly, and it is every edge of it is 100% like as sharp as it could be, and you hand it over to Aul, and this is Aul. You kind of grasp it. This is one of the nicest blades you've ever wielded. Ever welded.
Well, I know material goods shouldn't make me feel better, Vilhelm. But honestly, after everything that's happened, this is a really nice dagger, actually. Thank you. I feel pretty good.
So about that armor.
All right, so I see at this point Eligos is like walking into the room as I'm handing out the adamantium Chris.
I heard you do commissions.
Yeah, I mean, Eligos, to be straight up, I was already planning on like just straight up making you a suit of armor, like outside of like repairing your old one. So.
Oh well, that works out. Cool.
All right, Vin. In terms of raw materials, what would I need to repair the shield?
To repair his shield, I'd assume that your shield was golden, right, Eligos?
I mean, it probably was not made out of gold, because that would be a dumb idea.
Yeah, it would be really dumb. I assume bronze or brass?
Probably steel, to be honest.
All right, yeah,
Gilded
so
steel.
to replace that, to fix that, Harris, you're gonna need 2.5 pounds of steel ore.
I take Eligos to Clevin's like, alright, well, I'm going to need about 2.5 pounds worth of steel ore, so like if you could pay for that, that would be greatly appreciated.
12 gold.
Alright.
Alright, he hands over the seal.
Alright, so take the steel ore, go back up to the forge, hammer away at the shield, make it a little less dented. When it's done, I just hand him back the shield.
But how wiggly is it?
It would be bad for a shield like this to be wiggly, so there are no wiggles in this shield.
That was a test, and you passed.
Oh, what, did you want me to make you, like, weird wavy shield? I mean, I'd fucking do it. But, like...
No.
All Eligos knows is that Will asked for a dagger and got back something wiggly.
Yes, no, it's a Chris. He just saw it, he's like, huh. And it's like... So about my armor. And it's...
At this point, Vilhelm kind of more or less just gets to work on the suit of splint armor that he was, like, planning to make for Eligos. So, he does it.
So you're able to, over the course of a few days, fix up his splint armor with enough steel that will fix it. We've hatched out the number.
The thing
for
is,
you.
Vin, before Plumbo had a chain shirt, and then Split's kind of a different job.
Oh,
but,
so you're making completely.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, like I said, I kind of mentioned this to you in DMs before we were recording this, but I was just gonna straight up make Eligos a new set of armor.
And there you go. You gonna make it out of steel?
Yep.
All right. So yeah, you're able to over the course of a few days set like completely craft a new set of the armor that you want to make for him, completely made from the steel ore that you purchased for him. So you're able to get that set of armor for him. It's all set.
All right. So when I'm done, I tracked down wherever Eligos in. It was like, all right, Eligos, I have something to like bid. Your armor's ready to go. I didn't feel like bringing it down here.
Nice. I'll give you a shout out on my Insta.
What is this? What is this Insta of which you speak of?
It's actually Dinsta because he's a paladin.
Oh my god. Add me. It's at Chillin' Dragon. I have to do this now. All right.
All right. So I take out Eligos up to Vilhelm's, I guess, impromptu forge. And then there's just a set of steel split armor. It's like, well, Eligos, I made you a set of armor.
Nice.
Yeah, it is splint armor. I'm not sure if you've ever worn it before, but go ape shit.
Do you want to describe it? Because I don't know what that looks like.
It looks like it's like, you know what a coat of plates is?
Yeah.
It's like that.
Huh.
Oh, this looks thick.
So like if someone took a bunch of really oversized dog tags and like taped them to armor.
Sort of.
That is a way to
There's
interpret
a dog of war now.
All right, yeah. So you get outfitted in a nice new set of steel splint armor. Neato.
Whoopee.
All right. So is there anything else that you want to craft for yourself, Wilhelm, or?
To be quite frank, I don't know. I didn't think that far ahead.
Okay. Well, the armor that you're currently wearing, you did buy that cape. If you want, you can affix the cape to the piece of armor that you're wearing, if you'd like.
If that is an option, then yeah, I'll affix the what the hell, cinder cloak to my chainmail.
Yeah, because then you can have like essentially like cinder chainmail. They kind of become the same item in terms of how I'm setting it up. So you're able to do that as well for yourself. And really, to end it all off here with you, Wilhelm, you seem pretty decently excited. You saw the invitation that is to this seemingly like emporium of like the mines of craftsmen, tradesmen, of any sort of inventor, and over the course of these 2 weeks, you've been taking jobs from everyone in the party. You fixed up shields. You've made a very nice Chris. You've even like attached a magical item to like a normal piece of chainmail. You've really tested yourself with the powers that you've gained over like over the experience that you've had, and this time alone that you've had yourself in the forge really just allows you to really hone in on and remember what it is that you used to do before you became an adventurer and before you came to this place. So what I want to know is over the course of like forging, what benefits do you gain from your level up as you continue to become more of a forge domain cleric?
All right. So at level 5, the big thing that I get is, one of the features of Channel Divinity for clerics by default is Turn Undead, which basically I present my holy symbol and undead make a save. If they fail, they run away. Now at level 5, if I have Destroy Undead, which means if I confront certain weaker undead, they'll just die. So if like the party's menaced by like, I don't know, 20 zombies, I present my holy shield, more or less shout, "Be gone, thought," they can explode.
Okay.
That's more or less how it works.
All right.
At 6th level, I gain the ability to use Channel Divinity more than once a day. And as a part of Cleric Domain, Forge Domain, I think it's called Heart of the Forge? No, Soul of the Forge. So basically what this entails is that I now just gain resistance to fire damage, and while wearing heavy armor, I just have a +1 to my AC, so I think now it's like an 18. 19, actually.
Ooh.
Another big boon is that by virtue of hitting 5th level, I've gained access to third level spells. So, as far as the spells that I took or I just acquired by just being a Force Domain cleric, there's protection from energy, which I think I just declare a damage type, and then I can give one creature resistance to that damage type, whether it be acid, cold, fire, lightning, or thunder. I have elemental weapon, which I touch a non-magical weapon, and that weapon gains +1 to attack rolls and deals 1d4 of that damage type. The damage types in question are I can augment to a weapon are acid, cold, fire, lightning, thunder, and then on top of that, I also picked up Mass Healing Word and Spirit Guardians because they're fun spells.
All right. So everyone seems to have had their personal experience while Retzela has been sleeping in the training room downstairs. And over the course of the 2 weeks, you see you all have gone on your separate journeys. You've all talked to each other. It seems like everyone's gotten a lot stronger than before. And you then, closer to the ends of those 2 weeks, you're about a day away from the date that's been set on the piece of paper that you've received, that you got off of Cass's corpse. And you see off in the distance as Larry continues to give Ignitus instructions, a large castle, a massive estate, and outside of that estate you see like a ridiculous amount, like almost a legion of boats, of airships, of trucks, of just carriages, all set up around this estate that one would even say is the size of a small city. And this is the location where you are all headed to now, the headquarters of Van Corfer Enterprises.
Thanks for listening to this episode of Good Job Adventures. If you like what you just heard, be sure to let us know by rating the podcast on your preferred listening platform. For questions about the cast, business inquiries, or if it hurts when I do this, contact us at goodjobadventures@gmail.com. For everything else, follow us on Twitter @GJAdventures. Thanks again. We'll see you next time.